about the Karen Reed trial and how the defense and the prosecution and the comparison of the speech that I gave at the end of the trial, right? And so I want to make a comparison, and also want to say that when you compare the two, in my mind, giving what I've seen so far, is that I believe the jury will find Karen Reed to be not guilty. And let me tell you why. The reason for that is when you compare with the speech of Alan Jackson, and he did, and if I would be in that position of that lawyer, I would have given the exact identical speech. The speech was from the top to the bottom, from the beginning to the end, step by step by step, a building block after block after block after block, was brilliantly made, very structured from the speech wise. Let's analyze it from the speech wise, very factually, building blocks after building blocks. So one led to the other, one led to the other, one led to the other. So he built the story in a very factual way, and in a way that it was in the brains, and was also in a way that people, he picked the wordings and the matters that was sticking in people's brains a lot. So he picked those items, built it together, put the facts together, and he built one brick after the other. And I think what I'm hearing from other resources is that the jury this time is a very young jury, or a younger jury. Basically, I think if it's a younger jury, they most likely are millennials and Gen Z. And those particularly, I would say Gen Z are, millennials of course, yes, are more fact-based rather than, if I would say, for example, a boomer. And we will get to Brennan's speech, which was a big mistake. He did a huge mistake, and I will tell you exactly why. And that's why I think they will find Karen Reed to be not guilty. And I was literally seeing that. Let's backtrack again. So the generation of millennials and Gen Z, the technical part will be hitting much more. And also giving what I hear, that how they eye rolled and how they were just writing down, and the fact that I think Alan Jackson infused inside, and he mentioned a million times, science, facts, and the science and technology and this and the CV and the quality. And so he was the punching words of the younger generation. The younger generation care about science. We know that from the news, right? Like everyone's talking about the science. We are here for the science, right? That's what he put on and underlined very, very deeply. That's how I think he played the younger generation, most likely Gen Z and millennials, that route. You could totally tell he played that card. And I think it was also brilliant. And because if these jury wouldn't be that a younger generation, he could have just stick on the facts. The facts is this, the facts is that. But he used these punching words. we believe in, you know, the science of the biomechanical engineer and blah blah. So he did a phenomenal job in these using punctual words and also building the case and using the items that stuck in people's brain a lot, kind of also saying, do you remember that? What? Kind of like, in a way, in a very conversational way, like, you kidding? Like, what? You know, that sort of thing is absolutely brilliant. The communication that the younger generation would do, like, you gotta kidding, right? Like, what? That sort of thing, which that style I use a lot in my talk because it's just like the kind of thing, right? So he used that language, which was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I loved it so much. And in Jalen Jackson, he's also kind of this animated, and that's why I think it was fantastic that Alan Jackson did the closing arguments. That was the word in the beginning of the video. I couldn't find like what was the word, like the closing argument. So that's why I found it very brilliant that he was the one who did it, because he's very animated and he really used the punctual words. So now let's talk about the mistake Brennan did in my mind, and that's why they will find Karen Reed not guilty for sure. Why? Because Brennan, let's talk about who he is. Brennan is a defense attorney turning into a special prosecutor. Let's say this again. He's a defense attorney turning with taxpayers' dollars into special prosecutor. And he did a huge mistake by giving his closing argument in a defense style. What do I mean by that? He played the emotion card. That's the defense tactic, which in this case, as a prosecutor, was a huge mistake. Why? Because Alan Jackson laid out clearly, and plus, if we are not dumb, we all knew that there is no case. There's absolutely, I mean, like literally, forget about everybody else, the last two, Dr. La Posata and Rentschler, these two, forget about, I mean, Rentschler was a very important part, but even forget about Rentschler. Dr. La Posata just put the point blank period. Zero, there's nothing. Especially, I mean, with that x-rays, the x-rays are the key of everything. There is absolutely, given the x-rays, zero chance whatsoever, period, full stop. And you don't have to be a medical, I don't know, a physician to see. Even Rachel said, I mean, with your eyes, you can see there's really nothing, right? It's just a normal arm. And so because there's no case, what he did was he used his defense style of playing emotions. That mistake number one. Mistake number two, these are not boomers. If they were like old Canton residents, you could play the emotions. He was a good guy, he was this, and showing the picture. The judge literally gave instructions at the beginning of the arguments and at the closing of the end of the arguments that you cannot play the emotion either way. For John O'Keefe or for the defendant, you cannot use the emotions when you arguing, when you come to a conclusion. But he did literally that. He showed this emotion. He not only played the entire time this emotion card, but also he put at the end John O'Keefe's picture, like this emotional. But this is not a boomer's jury. We know that. It's a younger generation who take notes religiously when the technical stuff came out. So that's number one. It showed that he is the defense attorney and he played that card. Number two, why he did that? Not only that's his style, that I guess he's trained for that, but he knows there is no case. How else? Because they beat him with the facts. So he has to play around it. But how does he do it if there's no case, there's no facts, and they beat him with the technology, with tech and the science? He had to play that round as a giving shot. But this will backfire so bad, like so bad, because this is not the jury. And I could like see there's no chance they will find her guilty. I think everything was going well, including for the last 2 days or 3 days, how the judge really gave a lot of goodwill like towards the defense, which I really like. I think the reason why she's doing that, I think she's trying to really, I mean, she's a little bit more giving more the hand towards or a little bit more just to the defense. I guess the only reason for that is because of Alessi. And I will make another video based on why I figured the psychology of Judge Bev and why she is so reacting differently to Yannetti, and then like this, Yannetti, Jackson, and Alessi. Alessi, she respects him like crazy. And I will make another video for that. And this is the reason, there's a reason why. She respects the crap out of Alessi. And so she gave a lot of hands for the last 3 days or so to them, to the defense. But everything was going good. And at the very end, she did it again with that that form they have to fill. And she included 7 points that is under, guilty, 7 points, and then 1 not guilty. I think my heart hurt really bad when I saw Karen Reed so panicking. Like my soul hurted to see her like that. She was just like going crazy, and I could feel it to my bones. That the way, because everything was going so fine, everything was fine, all the instructions was fine, everything was fine. They kept the rights of a lot of things, but then that she did it again. I think that the defense during the entire trial tried to really play well along with Bev. And why is that? Because they figured very easily, and we do another video for that, her psychology, because and I'm not saying that she's a narcissist, but vicious narcissists, a lot. I mean, I know that because I had only vicious narcissist bosses, so I know exactly how to deal with that because I could see it. So when that happens is you have to play along, like not in a way that I say, yeah, I'm yes ma'am or yes sir type of style, but in a way that you have to kind of it's a literally tiptoeing balancing act when you deal with narcissists, especially if they're a higher up position, and you have to tiptoe. And I mean, I spend so much my life tiptoeing around my narcissistic bosses, but and so and I think you could totally see, I told this entire trial, the second one, that they really tried hard to play really nice with her, and that played off very well. She played very well, and with the addition of Alessi, which she respects a lot, they really kind of pedaled back, put one gear backwards, and to accommodate her or tiptoe around her. So, and you see that Yannetti did that again. They were so disappointed. I think Carrie was literally shocked, and she was scared. I mean, you could see it. I mean, I could feel it to my bones that she was so scared. And so Yannetti then said, listen, yeah, but this is still not like, it's exactly the identical scenario of the first trial. It's so confusing. So she didn't say, that's so BS and we don't like this, please change that. He, again, you could really see he had to tiptoe around it, with not to anger her. I mean, I hate this so much. I feel suffocated as I say that, because I know exactly the feeling. You have to tiptoe around her, not make her angry. And so he said something like, it's confusing. Like, what else could he say? And then she's like, I don't think so, And he said, yeah. And she said, again, she tried to also, that's what narcissists do that. Like, not narcissist. She's not a narcissist. She's not a narcissist. Definitely not. She doesn't have that traits, but she has some other issues, which we'll tell in another video. But that's the ego clash. She has it, of course. She 100%. She has that. Like, don't do this with me, or I will use my power. And so, but this time when they play along, she understood they play along, so she also came towards them one step forward, right? So she said, like, tell me if there's any law regarding what you're suggesting. I looked it up and I didn't see it. And, which shows that she also tried. Let's give her that. I mean, I'm telling you, the last 2-3 days, I particularly paid attention her behavior and her reactions, and she was really trying, right? And give her a lot of rights, even though she sometimes she tried to really balance the objection. I mean, the motions that she 50-50 or 60-40, she suggested to go forward, or if she denied it, then she said you have still the rights. And so I think she really also tried to do it. I guess the reason for that is she, number one, she hear a lot of like this bad press about her. And number two, I think she just want this to be over. You can tell, and we'll talk this in another video, why she just don't want this to be, deal with it anymore. So she wants this to be over. But I think she wants also this to be, she gives a lot at this time to the defense, in my mind, especially lately. And then she said, I looked it up, but I didn't see any of this law. So tell me if there's any law, but give it to me and I will reconsider. And then I guess there wasn't a law. And Yannetti said very quietly, again, tiptoeing around, yeah, but there is also not a law what you suggested. And, and then it kind of like, so what you're saying, are you just now like rejecting it or what? And he's like, yeah, no, but we just are disappointed or something along those lines. But she said you could still have the rights, if something happens, God forbid. But I really think that this jury is smart, and I think I literally felt that the jury in my, I feel that, I don't know why, but I was feeling that they couldn't wait to deliberate, because I think they already made their minds, like all of us, like especially of La Passata and Rentschler. I think they were done by that time. Even before that, maybe like a little bit of like, oh my God, the Brennan, like what's going on. But then the La Posata and the Dr. Rentschler was just like end of story. Particularly, I'm telling you, La Posata with that X-rays. I mean, you have to be really stupid. And I don't. I really think that this deliberation will be short, and I really think they are smart, and I really think that they will acquit her, because it just, I think this time is so much more clear than it was last time. And I think they made it super clear. And again, I mean, Jackson's um, closing arguments was just absolutely speech-wise, factually, and the building blocks of it in brilliant, wonderful speech, incredible speech, very, very human-like, also very factual. And the words, the punctuation words he used was just so, so good. And he played again the young jury card. But I mean, Brennan, I mean, I think at one point, mid through, I really think Lally and the other women next to it, McLaughlin, whatever, I think I had a feeling that they felt this was such a huge mistake, what he's doing, because playing the, oh, poor, I mean, we all know he's poor John O'Keefe. He was a good guy. What has this to do with anything? Like, he's to start with, that was the stupidest things ever, because we know, and he's dead. So I mean, it was just so ridiculous, like really like defense style. And I think he literally forgot that he's a special prosecution, got so much taxpayers' dollars. That technique was a super awful mistake. So, and I was honestly shocked, because I didn't expect him to be so stupid. And because it was, even if you play that card, the data, what he's talking about was just so vague that compared to Alan Jackson's speech of the facts that was brilliantly presented, there was no chance. I think he had no chance factually, from the facts wise, at all. And I don't really think that he is playing the, hard card, didn't come along well at all. So I want to hear what your thoughts are, what you guys are thinking. So in my mind, again, I think they will acquit her, and because I think it was just crystal clearly made. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, in particular, what came out in your mind, particularly also when you look into the room? I for the last few times, like few days, I mean, yeah, a few days or so, a week or so, I really liked the behavior of Bev. I think she was, especially in the motions. I mean, some motion I was like, are you kidding? Like, I was very angry. But again, she tried to 50-50 or 60-40 kind of, so 70-30 kind of thing. But Brennan was a mess, and I think everyone figured that. Everyone figured it. I think he was not coming across well whatsoever. So what are your thoughts on that? Let me know. So just hang out a little bit, and then we'll go, because I would like to talk about, I think, a lot of more important stuff that's going on. Please come to our Sunday live. I think this time I will do a Sunday live, or maybe I will pre-record, I don't know. But I want to talk about, listen, what's going on in LA right now, And this weekend, there will be thousands and thousands of demonstrations. And also that Israel bombed Iran. So I literally 2 months ago made a video on Sunday Live, and I talked about, and I said, civil war is coming. And it's coming. Why? I will tell you all on the Sunday Live again. If you haven't watched that video, I encourage you, you need to watch that video. I think it's in the description at the very bottom or the end or somewhere. If not, I will put it in the description. So yes, we talk about Karen Read trial, and we are kind of confusing the YouTube algorithm, but who cares? I really don't care. I just need to inform you guys or remind you guys, because again, everything that comes out of my mouth happens. And I literally 2 months ago, I said that. I also gave you the historical facts, and we are back in the times of history, and you will I will talk more on the Sunday Live about that. But again, I will give you the dates, historical dates. It's already done 2 months ago, so watch the video. It says civil war is coming, and it's in the live stream playlist. Also, I will also link below. So it's very, very severe actually. And let me tell you, this is just a preview. This is just a preview. The real civil war will start next year, April, May, around those times. Then it goes 6 years. Mark my words. This is just a preview. This is nothing. This is just a preview. We will talk more about that. So let me know about Karen Read, what your thoughts are. You are here. I appreciate that. I thank you so much for the likes. I really, really appreciate this. You know, justice will be served. As like we are at different times, and even I yesterday was a lot. Thank you guys for the likes. I appreciate it. I mean, listen, the court system and the justice system is so, the system is so corrupt, okay? Thanks for the likes, guys. I appreciate it. The system is really corrupt. Let me tell you that. And the reason why it's so corrupt is that, and tell me if I'm wrong, this is what I figured, okay? I mean, I did already know, but listen, this is such a horrible cycle, like how the world we live in, okay? So once you say, for example, if you are poor, I mean, Karen Read, yes, let's talk about, we don't need to talk about Karen Read, but I'm just giving an example. So Karen Read had money, right, that she was able to hire these attorneys, rock star attorneys. Okay, imagine Karen Read was poor. She had no money, okay? So there was absolutely zero chance she would sit the entire time in that room. She would be in jail, full stop. And there would be, I really don't think she would have even a chance for a defense, real defense trial at all whatsoever. And if you know in the courts, and this is how you can see it, everyone say the judge, you know, Bev is just so corrupt, it's just so corrupt. If you know the courts are oftentimes, I mean the judge, toward to 80%, if not 90%, always are on the side of the prosecution. Always. Trust me. And that's why I would suggest, if I have any situation that you need to go to the courts, if you say sense things that you should do but you procrastinate and you do and don't do, and then you turn into a defendant instead of a the person that files it or sues someone, that you get sued instead, right? That these people are faster than you because you procrastinate. You're like, I don't want to go into this or whatever. Trust me, in this corrupt system, try hard that you are the one to sue. Because trust me, the corrupt system, the justice system is on the side of the person who sues, not the defendants. I'm telling you. And it is so important to see the difference. So you can win when you know what you're doing. And what you're doing means that you have all, as I keep saying in my videos, especially in the narcissism videos, right? Take screenshots, keep all the receipts, keep all the emails, all the text messages, whatever. Keep those stuff when you know, because 2 years ago, last year or so, I want to do actually a live workshop about my proven 4-step success and blueprint that I wanted to give you as a live workshop, but I couldn't get people to sign up, so I disregarded. But that applied a lot in the court system too. And so I always, with that blueprint, I was getting success all the time, even with higher ups, since the 90s, since I was in college. And so I was, again, like my justice course, like my abundance course, that one, success on demand, is like quick, like fireworks in your brain, and then you just say things that change the trajectory. And it happened to me a million times. And that's why I want to teach now. Maybe I put it as a course, that 4 steps that I do all the time. And that's the success in demand, like in a very tough situation, when you are feeling that you are cornered in a situation that is so serious, and you have higher ups in front of you, they corner you, and then you do these things, and then boom, everyone gets shocked, you get shocked, and then the trajectory turns into another direction. It happened to me a gazillion times. So maybe put this as a course instead of a live workshop. Let me know if you're interested in learning about that. But definitely, I mean, I would suggest, since we're talking about justice, you can get justice. And I have a 3-step blueprint for getting justice. And I have to tell you, in this corrupt system, you need to have two justice. One is justice on earth and justice from the heavens. Only these together can protect you. I'm telling you, because the system is so corrupt. And again, if you're on the defense side, it's so rare. It is so rare that the justice or judge is on your side. They don't even let you talk, okay? But even if you are a nobody, but you are the one that sues, somehow magically, even on your own, you can win the case. It happened to me when I just got to the US for the first time. I sued my landlord and I won 3 times. I was on my own. I don't even know what I was doing. Like, I swear to God, I was just like doing it on my own. And they came with like 100 people and I won 3 times. The judge was on my side. And so it can, so you again, you need to keep receipts. You need to keep all the ducks in a row. If you are suspicious of something fishy going on, my recommendation, that's what I do all the time. My phone is full of screenshots. I mean, I made literally a video about that, but I talked more about narcissists, right? How you deal with narcissists. And for that, I mean, 100%, you need to keep the receipts, right? Meaning screenshots, emails, and documents, what have you. Trust me on this one. It will save you. It will save you 100%. Because oftentimes, particularly in the US, I mean, I'm European, right? I mean, I'm American, but I'm European too. But for me, and I'm a scientist, and I'm like a, you know, I don't know, a nerd, and I like to do things in order, in structure. And when you do that, you will be shocked how much power you have. You have absolutely power when you do that. And I highly recommend this to everybody, because otherwise, what do you have? God forbid if you got sued and you were the defendant, what do you have? You have nothing. And the system is so corrupt, you will be done. And if you have all the tickets in your hand and you play the cards on the table, you can turn things around. And so, also important, let me tell you this, it's so important. That's why, if you are surprised, like, why on earth am I talking about empowerment on my channel? Why is my channel about empowerment? Because knowledge is power. And when you have the power, you can beat everything and everyone in a way that nobody can. An important thing is titles, right? Power, titles. Let me tell you this. When I was in college, actually, I was an athlete, okay? I was in school doing three things. School, I was pretty good at school. I was doing school. I was a swimmer and then a water polo player. A swimmer in mid school, and then water polo player in high school. And then I was also, since mid school all the way until even today, I was in the playing in the park music instrument, and I was singing. And so I was doing three things: school, sports, and music all together since childhood. And so then when I got into college, and the college was the equal to Harvard, like I really wanted to go in that school, so I won the exam, so I went to that college, was another city, and so I had to give up sports, so I couldn't swim anymore, there was no swimming pool, and also music, so I was just going straight to college, whatever, because so excited. But then I was starting to, since I have to say secondary school, like high schoolish, but more actively in high school and in college, I started to do a lot of activism. I mean, I was an anti-smoking activist when I'm at age of 12. And then I was more and more like activist on right things. And then secondary school, high school, I was reading a lot of books about historical events, and how how the political imprisonment and stuff like that. So I was doing a lot of turning into political activism a little bit in college. In the first year of college, I was really deep into that, and because I was building up until that point, and I was like, okay, because my college was really in that, like, in that political activism side at that time. This was like in the early 90s. And then at one night, I was saying to myself, listen, because as you know me, if I have something in my mind and I go full force it, I go full force in. I'm a Scorpio, black and white, nothing in the middle. So I said to myself, should I go all the way through this political activism? to what I believe in, or should I leave that and focus full force on my studies and become, I don't know, a important person in the world and change the world that way? You know, I could go, I mean, even with the political activism, the end of the story is pretty dire. I don't want to say it up here, but you know what I'm talking about. At the very end, right, it could go in a very bad direction. And I said, is that the way? Because then I said, this way, I can only influence whom? 1, 2 people if I end up going down, right? But if this way, if I have the power and have a name in the world, then I can influence many more people and change the world. And that way I decided overnight, this is not my path. I cannot change the world this way at all, because I knew it will go downhill and I knew I couldn't influence a lot of people. I then decide full force, I will go to my science, because I studied biology. So I went full force to science, and then I went masters, and then I become faculty, and I went to, you know, other countries, and I did, you know, PhD, what have you, and then I came all the way to Harvard. And all of these paths, of course, I was nonstop, like roadblocks, like narcissists, bosses, whatever. But every time I said, you know what, Chabella, you know, because I go that direction. So what happened then, every time I had more power and more power and more power, because at the end I was not the biologist, I was the higher with master's biologist, and then I was faculty, and I was teaching, and I had larger, I had students, I had and 30 people out of a sudden I mentored, and then I was getting accepted to another country to do my PhD in cancer and in brain cancer. And then from there, I got another university. And from there, and every time I got more and more power. And then I got into, people was like, you know, like, they didn't want me to grow. And then I was end up in Harvard. And I said, you know what? I send you a postcard from Harvard, because these people, but of course, I don't even care, like whatever. And that, guess what? At the end of the day, nobody cares about you, but then out of the sudden, everyone listens to you. And that is important, because that way, even if you don't have a title, you can be the best person in whatever you are doing. And then you have the power and to say, I am whatever expert. And you shut everyone's mouth that way. You know, you don't have to have a title, but you can have, I don't know, be a rock star in something. Then you can say, you know what, I am actually the lead person in this field. And everyone like, oh my God, what? And that way you can shut many people's mouths. I mean, you can have power that way. And this is so important in a corrupt system like this. Because this way, the only thing that matters, like you kind of, when you do all the ducks in a row, plus your power, it's superpower. I hate to use the word superpower because it's so overused, but you know what I'm talking about. Just combine the two, and I'm not saying that you will never be beatable, but I'm kind of saying that, because that's why when I do include the courses that I did, the justice, right? When you include that, and when you include the abundance, it's just like and that's what I'm experiencing for the last several months. And unfortunately, I said unfortunately, because everything that comes out of my mouth happens. And it is so interesting that when you combine all of these things that I now starting to teach, because it's kind of like the magic that you can just put all together and you are not beatable, and you are playing both heaven and earth together combined with your brain and with your structure and with your power, and then you become the superpower. It is true, because that's what I'm experiencing, and I would like you to be like that too, because this way, if you are a good-hearted person, then the world needs us even more than ever. Now it's the time. I mean, I talk about that kind of stuff on the Sunday lives, and I will tell you why right now our leadership is being asked for. We will be leading the world, and this is now the time. We will be going through the civil war. It will be civil war. It will be a civil war. There will be a civil war. It's the beginning right now with that LA, and the war itself just happened. I mean, historically it's identical. And so watch that video that I already did. And that's why I'm telling you, when you need to have justice on all levels in life, not only just for the corruption. Actually, I was just totally sidetracked, but I want to say the system is like this. When you are poor and you don't have support, then you get further and further and further and further dragged down and down and down and down, that you can't breathe and you cannot go up back again. This is the corrupt system that is being built built from these poor people, and the more you make them poorer, that's how people get rich. The prison system is made like that. The more poor you are, the more you keep the people poor, the more they commit crimes, and then because out of lack of money. And you can, I mean, if you watch the trials, you see, even in this Dan Markel trial, right? Dan and Markel, they did a life. The killers who were been paid $10,000, $10,000 for life in prison. The man, the wife, and what about the children? They're now somewhere, and what will happen with them? For what? $10,000. So you see, because people are so desperate, when they have lack of money, they commit more crime, and the more crime they commit, we need more prisons, and that's why the prison business just is rising. And when we have more people drugged with marijuana, drugged with other drugs, then they commit crimes. Why we have so much alcohol? Because they commit more crimes and they get more to jails. And of course, those things are more and more happening, and the credit card system and the banking system, it's just getting like a debt cycle and more in a debt cycle. And that is the system that's so corrupt. And that's why Karen Reed is an outlier. Nobody thought in a million years that she would have such a power. Again, power. In this case, she is educated, she has the money, and so that's, again, on a different ways she had the power. She's educated, that's power. She knows, she's eloquent, that's power. She has the money, that's power. And all of these combined, they could not thought in a million years that she would fight this much. And that's why empowerment is the key in life to be successful, especially through the corrupt system. even when you are poor, I mean, let's also talk about the mental health part, right? So can you imagine, like, when you are poor and you get more drugged into down and down and down, and your credit cards goes, the credit card companies and the banking system and the, I don't know, all the telephone, whatever, and then you go further down. And what about your mental health, right? You are, and that's also why, because because internally you get anxiety, you will probably get, I don't know, anger issues. That's why so many murder cases happen with poor people, right? Because also it's just the anger of the system that accumulates in the body. And then it goes, if you cannot control yourself, if you don't have the strength, the inner strength to control yourself, then it escalates, because not many people are strong. Not many people. That's why the high self-esteem and high self-worth and self-value increases your inner strength. Many people don't have that, and because many people don't have that, it's easy that your brain plays games, and then that's why this what is it, the murder out of passion happens, because it's just a explosion out of nowhere, because you cannot control your emotions anymore. And that's the whole system, like a death cycle, that is what this corrupt system is fueled by. Again, the more power we have, the more we, at this time, day and age, right now, which we talk on the Sunday Life, is the time where people like us who have the power, are good people, will lead the world, and this is needed. And that's why also I think this time, not last time, this time she will be acquitted, because it's the time, and of all the facts combined. So I haven't seen your reactions and your thoughts, but I really appreciate your likes and that you are here listening to me. And I wish you a great Friday night. Take care, guys. I will definitely put that video here, and we will see each other on the Sunday, okay? On maybe I think it's Sunday Live, but if not, I will pre-record it, but I will put the previous video down here so you can see the historical events, okay? Take care, guys. Bye-bye.